Good morning, everyone. My presentation is Fatal Attraction, Adventism and Conspiracy Theories. Can I have the screen, please? So this is the content or the outline of the presentation. So I'm going to offer you the definition of conspiracy theories. Then we are going to talk about very shortly, about the structure and content of conspiracy theories. Then we are going to talk about the reasons. Why have the Adventists been attracted to the conspiracy theories? Then we are going to do some evaluation from several perspectives. Then we are going to talk about the impact of the conspiracy theories for Christians and humanity in general. And then I'm going to give you a conclusion. So, the noun conspiracy actually derives from the Latin verb conspirare, which means to breed together. Briefly, conspiracy theory is an attempt to explain the religious, historical, social, or economic phenomena as a result of a secret plan of an organized group, usually designated as the elite, that has an evil and selfish purpose of exploiting the rest of the human population. So this is the most general definition of conspiracy theory we can offer. Few words about the structure and the content in relation to the religion. There are religious conspiracies, like the elite are the Freemasons, Jesuits, Antichrist. This is going across the Christian spectre and the Christian denominations. And these are usually religious when some religious or pseudo-religious group is the elite. Then we have non-religious conspiracies involving CIA, Trilateral Commission, Zionist Jews. Then we have combination of the above. Now, complexity. The less complex are the event conspiracies. These theories are an attempt to explain a single event. For example, who ordered the assassination of the United States President John Kennedy? And there are millions, zillions of ideas who might have done that, except Lee Harvey Oswald. Then we go to systematic conspiracy theories. This is an attempt to explain two or more events and includes a wide geographic region or even the entire planet. So then they connect the assassination of John Kennedy with the Vietnam War, with the mafia, with the world, with the Russians, and whoever. Then we have superstructure conspiracy theories, which are a combination of the previous two, but the catch is that there is a super elite that manipulates some elites, and that elite in the middle manipulates the rest of the society. For example, if you remember the book, or if you saw the movie, The Da Vinci Code, you'll find that there is a Bishop Aringarossa who was leading this very specific monk into these actions of killing people and finding the cylinder. And above him there was someone who was very mysterious called teacher. And the teacher actually manipulated the bishop manipulated the monk and the Roman Catholic Church. So this is an example of superstructure conspiracy theory. Now, we are talking about the structure and content. These are the basic assumptions. So this is very important, that actually the worldview of the majority, if not all of them, conspiracy theories, whether religious or not, is that the universe was designed, was created. So the universe did not come into existence just like that. Then they say that all events are related to each other. So everything is related in their theories and how they explain certain conspiracy. This leads to nothing that happens in reality is actually accident. So there is no accident. Everything is related. So that woman who was in a white coat on Daly Plaza in Texas, in Dallas at that moment, she had a role. The Pruder who shot the movie, he had a role. And everything has a role. So there is no accident. And no major event is what it seems to be for the most of the people. So this is called pseudologic in conspiracy theories. That what you see or experience is not that, but the reality is completely different. So there is a substitution between the reality and deception. Ethical assumptions. In conspiracy theories, there is a clear definition of what is good and what is evil. So they are almost dualistic. There are always two sides. Number two, there is a conflict between good and evil. So there is a great controversy. And finally, those who promote and believe in conspiracy theories are the good ones. So this is very important why people are attracted to that. Because they read about that, they enjoy that, they share that, they discuss about that, and they have an inner feeling. We are on the good side. And whatever we do in life, every one of us would like to be on a good side. So, what are the similarities between Adventist worldview and conspiracy theories? Adventists believe that the universe was created and designed. So, that's how certain Adventists find connection between them and the conspiracy theories. Then, Adventists' core theological concept is the cosmic conflict between God and Satan. When you go to conspiracy theories, there is clear definition who are the good ones, who are the bad ones. Then in Adventism is that the goal to be on the God side, and goal of conspiracy theories is to be on the side of the good. Adventists are very much interested in eschatology, particularly the book of Daniel and Revelation, and also certain conspiracy theories are talking about papacy. Papacy is a negative system. The Adventist Church is not the only one that identifies the little horn with papacy, although certain conspiracy theories also that do that in another way. Then Adventists are anti-establishment movements. So there was a study a few years ago called Seeking the Sanctuary. And one of the conclusions of the researchers who are sociologists in the first place, and the study is sociological, is that Adventist church is mainly anti-establishment in their attitude. And I put this historical event when Adventists in 19th century, they were against church organization, organizing church as an institution. Why? Because as Millerites, many of them, just before 1844, they were disfellowshipped by their own churches. And they started talking about them as Babylon. So having organization in 1850s, 1860s, that would be going back to Babylon. And there was a huge debate, huge discussion, huge tension among Adventists of those times. So the first conference that was established, it was 1861. And James White was one of the individuals who promoted this idea. And his hermeneutical tool called, if it's not forbidden in the Bible, then it is allowed, helped a lot to push towards Adventist churches organization. But anyway, even today we have certain resentments against institutions. We don't believe them. And in certain part of the world, Adventists don't do that proverbially. If you go to the Balkans, I'm not going to gossip about any other country, I'm going to talk about my country, Macedonia. 99% of the population, we don't believe in the institution of the government. Because for more than 30 years, there have been so many events when people have been deceived, literally, by the government. And people then project that to the churches. People project that to certain institutions that would like to preach the truth. So that's why is the problem. Can I have the screen again? And finally, there is idea of religious liberty. We would like to give freedom to people. We would like to have freedom for us as well. Freedom of free speech. We would like to believe what we think that we should believe. And also on the other side, you've got freedom and our way of life are in danger. These are the flosculars you can hear if you go to certain people like QAnon, people who were behind storming the Capitol, US Capitol in Washington, D.C. on the 6th of January 2021. Majority of them were fundamentalist Christians who believed in conspiracy theories. Okay, let me give you some evaluation. Let me evaluate the epistemological, the knowledge way. One of the problems with the conspiracy theories is that they are mixture of facts and fiction. They're sometimes very similar to gossip. As more established conspiracy theories, they try to give you plenty of sources. But very often they mix these sources with fiction. One of them was that the movies from 1970s and early 1980s, like the E.T., and movie before that, it was the Third Kind Encounters. Certain conspiracy theorists in the United States, they said this actually has happened. And now the government is preparing us to accept that there is UFO, that there are other civilizations, there are aliens, and so on and so forth. And they mixed facts and fiction. Actually, conspiracy theories are like mythology, because mythology is a mix of fact and fiction and tries to explain something. And that's the problem with conspiracy theories. People are attracted to the facts, but somehow they ignore the fiction. Then there is an issue of ultimate authority and how to check the plausibility of conspiracy theories. In 99.9% is a blind faith at the bottom line. They put facts, they put everything else, but everything depends on the charisma and convincing skills of the conspiracy theorist. So the problem is that the vast majority of them cannot be double-checked. Number 3, there is a quasi or pseudo-logic. There is something that in philosophy of science is called parsimony. Parsimony is not about something or somebody who is very frugal. Okay? Parsimony in science is that very complex issue or phenomenon has a very simple cause. And very often, conspiracy theories, they explain very complex issues and phenomena by offering you a simple cause. And very often that causes aha effects. Oh, I didn't know that. But they are quasi-logical because they mix facts and fiction, and also they exchange the structure of how certain idea is presented. Very much is very close to sophism in ancient Greece, ancient Hellenist times. And today it's quite close to deconstruction, where people are told do not look at the facts in conspiracy theories, but to look at what I'm going to tell you. Why? Because the facts are not facts. They are actually something that somebody else prepared for you to see instead. Then there is a psychological aspect to the evaluation. Conspiracy theories, they can cause paranoid feelings in individuals and also groups of people. Paranoia, it could be, it's not always, but it could be mental illness when a person wrongfully thinks that somebody is against him or even threatening him to kill or her to kill. And these conspiracy theories, they can create paranoia. Jesuits are among us. Who are the Jesuits? They are kind of a religious James Bonds. They go behind the enemy line, and we are the enemy, and they try to make problems. How many times you've heard this apocryphal story? At one Adventist school, theological school, there was a teacher who was actually a Jesuit and whose goal was to make issues and problems there, to create disunity. And suddenly, a letter from whoever his boss was, instead of his mailbox, came into the mailbox of the principal, and the principal opened the letter, and he suddenly found out that that professor is not a good Adventist church member, but he was actually a secret Jesuit. I've heard that for dozens of Adventist schools, including Newbold. We have a principal advisor here. We have the actual principal here, so just watch our mailboxes, okay? And that's the problem, and there is paranoia. People become distrustful to each other. Also, conspiracy theories, they create so-called siege mentality. That's pseudo or quasi-unity. Siege mentality, there is an example. Jose Mourinho, famous football coach. And wherever he goes, very often he creates siege mentality. That was particularly seen in his first instance at Chelsea. He told them, "You're now the richest club in the world, and everyone hates you." Because at that time, Mr. Abramovich can handpick the best players in the world, and he can bring them here, and no one in the football world can do anything about that. That's why they hate us. And for the first 3 years, the siege mentality worked. But the problem with the siege mentality is that it doesn't work on a long run. And also paranoia, everybody's against me, creates the so-called witch hunt, which is always a bad thing. Then there is a feeling of superiority. Because I know this, I'm privileged, I'm special. It was revealed only to me and to the very small group of people. We are the remnants. We are special because of that. We have a special knowledge. Then there is an ethical issue, or a couple of them as well. Conspiracy theories, they are forgery because they mix truth with non-true ideas. So, more facts in a conspiracy theories and smaller number of fiction, they're more believable. But it is very interesting that that small number of lies are usually blatant lies. Because everyone who was ever deceived, or if there are some active deceivers among us, people know the greater the lie, better is taken by conspiracy theorists. There is also another problem. It is called labeling. Conspiracy theories in the past have been used to label people and to put targets on their foreheads. Zionist protocols were used by Soviets, probably forged by the Soviet Secret Service, and used also by the Nazis to show that actually the Jews were the enemy among us. Even today, if I go back to my country has a communist past. Labeling was the favorite way how to put target on somebody's forehead. You are a traitor, you are a problem. So, theology. They are pseudo-Christian worldview and values. They cause pseudo-unity. There is also deification of the conspirators. Because the conspirators are the elite, they are presented as someone who is without mistake. They are almost perfect. And whatever they do is perfectly there. So the lie is almost perfect. There is also incorrect interpretation and application of biblical prophecy, particularly Daniel and Revelation. Sometimes a lot of presentations on Daniel and Revelation are actually conspiracy theories rather than interpreting the books among us. What is the toxicity of conspiracy theories? In terms of hermeneutics, there is an incorrect interpretation and application of biblical prophecies that could lead to rejection of the Bible as the Word of God. Once people are out of siege mentality, once people realize that this was just a silly conspiracy theory, instead of rejecting the authority, a human being who does that, actually they reject the Bible. That's the problem. Mental health issues, promoting the feelings of paranoia and hubris. Hubris is ultimate pride. Political manipulation, means of fighting political opponents. Racism and anti-Semitism, Ku Klux Klan. They're also anti-Catholic and they're also racist. Purges in the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Nazi Germany against the Jews, and so on. Religious cults, controlling the members by forging the information and promoting conspiracy theories. People's Temple. Conspiracy theories in making a cult means do not read anything else, read just what we tell you to read. And in People's Temple, 1978, they committed mass suicide in Jonestown in Guyana, South America. And before that, Jim Jones, their pastor, he threw the Bible on the floor, years before that. And isolated in Jonestown, they were told only what Jim Jones created. Religious cults use conspiracy theories. Terrorist attacks, a good number of terrorist attackers, domestic or imported, have been building their ideologies and finding the motivation for their attacks in conspiracy theories. Breivik, the white race is in danger. School shootings in the USA. The recent shooting in Buffalo, it was based on the white supremacist idea that the African Americans are the problem. They're going to step over the white race. So even the terrorists use that. In spirituality, actually that affects our spirituality because there is constant gossiping, spirit of distrust, disunity, obsession with the enemy, and so on and so forth. How we can respond? My first point is, if God has revealed the character of the leader of the rebellion, Satan, Satan's intention and plans in the Bible, particularly in Daniel and Revelation, then why should I waste my time on his minnows? His minnows, whoever they are. I don't care. I know what their boss is thinking about. Number two, do not rely on one source or information always, and always compare the sources. Do not put trust in one person, never, or one source. Never ignore the facts about God, the cosmic conflict, and spirituality and ethics, but always try to interpret them through the lenses of the Bible. Also, avoid hermeneutical idolatry, where human being is in the center of what you need to believe. That's why we have Sabbath school. That's called exegetical optimism, a term coined by Erasmus of Rotterdam. In exegetical optimism, every single person, every single of us have rights to interpret the Bible. Further, the siege mentality does bring unity in the short run, but only damages the society or the church in the long run. Finally, whatever you are exposed to as a gossip and conspiracy theory, pray for wisdom and never stop. The Bible says that the wicked shall not understand, but the wise will understand. And the wicked are not stupid people. The wicked are people who decided freely and consciously to oppose God. Wise people, then, are not just people with special knowledge, but people with special bond and faithfulness to the Lord. Amen.